I want to first thank you, the United Nations Correspondent Association, for organizing this event on such short notice. My name is Iara Lee. I'm a dual U.S.-Brazilian citizen of Korean descent. I'm a filmmaker and a human rights activist. I decided to join the Freedom Flotilla after going to Gaza a few months ago and seeing firsthand the devastation there. After hearing the pleas of the people living in Gaza to have the blockade lifted, I felt I must do something. The Gaza Freedom Flotilla was on a humanitarian mission. We expected to be deterred from delivering our aid to Gazans, but we did not expect to be attacked. We started filming from the moment we boarded the Mavi Marmara, right through the Israeli assault on the ship. Although all our equipment was confiscated, we managed to smuggle this footage out. Mine is a high-definition footage of the flotilla attack, and also the only sustained footage of the ship and its passengers preceding the deadly Israeli commando raid. Watching this raw footage, you get a sense of the mood on the ship and of the passengers on it. Undoubtedly, many of you will be scrutinizing it for clues to resolve the mysteries that still surround what happened that fateful night. During this past week, the Israeli government has repeatedly alleged that these passengers, or some of them, laid a trap for Israel, duped the Israeli military, and plotted a lynching. Israel has repeatedly alleged that we were anti-Semitic Muslim fanatics connected to terrorist organizations. In fact, the passengers on our mission came from many countries and religions and ethnic backgrounds. Our one common denominator was that we wanted to end the humanitarian crisis in Gaza by highlighting the injustice of Israel's blockade. Prime Minister Netanyahu said this wasn't a love boat, this was a flotilla of terror supporters. Our footage will help you decide whether we were a love boat or a hate boat. At 11 p.m. we saw the two Navy ships, and then we were just like surprised because we were in the middle of international waters. We thought this was going to be during the day, and closer to Gaza. But they came in the middle of international waters and assaulted us, basically kidnapped us after the killing and took us to Israel. And when we got to Ashdod port in Israel, they started interrogating us, and they kept saying, do you know you're going to be deported because you're illegally in Israel? And we were like, you kidnapped us. We didn't want to be here in Israel. And, the whole thing was very, very convoluted, and it was not long because obviously if they had live ammunition, they took over the ship rather quickly. Since we were hundreds of people, when the commandos came down, as you saw, some of them were captured and injured, but we felt, and I think today in the New York Times came out that one of our doctors treated the injured Israeli commander because maybe we thought by example they would do the same, and give us medical support, but that was not the case. They ignored us despite the fact that we kept announcing that we needed medical support because we were not prepared. We thought we were going to have some sort of like a verbal confrontation, or maybe they would shoot in the air to scare us or shoot on the foot, but not that they were going to come and start killing everybody. So we were not medically prepared. And we kept requesting to the point that the lady who was part of the Israeli government, she even wrote in Hebrew, and she went to the soldiers with a white scarf saying, please, we need medical assistance. These people are bleeding to death. If they had provided that on time, a lot of these people who died, they would have been saved because they basically bled to death.
But the route was changed right before they came.
Yeah, because when we saw that they were coming, like in the middle of the night in international waters, we decided to kind of flee. Someone is investigating, the chart, but we kept going further and further away from Gaza, but that didn't deter them.
So they were chasing you after that?
Yes, they had all these zodiacs.
In the international water, they were going after you?
Yes, and all of a sudden we saw these zodiacs coming with all these Navy soldiers, and then the commanders coming non-stop. Obviously, we were in the lower deck, so we don't have close-ups, but you could tell. I mean, if you brighten up the footage, I think once people start analyzing, they could see all the soldiers coming down, the commanders coming down non-stop.
That soldier, how he was wounded, with gun or with something else?
I don't have the details, but he was wounded. they probably, as you saw, people were like slingshots, poles, chairs, whatever they could get hold of.
With the names of the people to avoid killing.
Yeah, this booklet that the Israeli soldiers, I saw the member of parliament from Germany, and I saw this like 85-year-old archbishop, and I was like, no, this is not the list of people they want to kill. These are the list they say, if we kill, it's the high-profile people.
So the soldiers were carrying these papers?
Yeah, so they had these things, and one of them dropped, and this gentleman showed. He thought it was like the list of people to be killed, but it was actually the high-profile people that they should not kill.
Catherine?
If you can tell us a little bit what happened right after it stops, and how were you able to get the footage?
Yeah, so this is basically, until they took over and they started handcuffing us and took us to this deck. And the very first time when they kind of like entered the boat, first thing they did was to confiscate all our laptops and Blackberries and cell phones and electronics, because they knew this was going to be the best way to not have any communication go out. And they didn't anticipate that we had this backup, the organization had this backup satellite system that was able to transmit some of the tragedy. And that's something they didn't realize, because that's why they attacked us in the darkness, because they thought, okay, it's dark, it's 4 a.m., we're going to take all their equipment, we're going to jam the satellites. After they jammed the satellites, they came and attacked us.
We have a question there.